We are so lucky to be here with Stephen Satterfield, the author of the new book, Root to Leaf. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun.
So, you're going to teach us today about how to use a lot of the parts of the vegetables that we throw away, which goes really well with everything that your book is about. But what do you think is the biggest mistake that people make when they throw away all the stuff that we tend to throw away?
Well, I think that, the farmers spend a lot of time, growing these vegetables and weeding and tilling and harvesting and driving to market, and there's so much work involved. And then we might buy a bulb of fennel and we just cut off the tops and throw them in the compost bin. It's your money, and you're spending your hard-earned money
on it. You already bought it.
You might as well use as much as you can.
Wonderful. So we are lucky enough to have 3 recipes from your new amazing book, and all of them are going to be using some parts of the vegetable that perhaps people don't necessarily use. So what are we starting with, and what are we making?
Sure, we're going to start with the quiche because it takes a little time to bake.
Yeah.
And so basically we're using the tops of the radishes are sort of the feature.
So great, what do we have to do for the quiche?
Great, well I made a pie crust and I went ahead and blind baked it just to save a little time. I'm going to wilt some green garlic and shallots together. Excellent, so I'm going to start with a little butter.
And then how much garlic, how much shallots?
1 shallot and 1 stalk of green garlic. We're going to add a little bit of salt just to help wilt this. Salt is going to bring out the flavors. It's also going to draw out some moisture. And then we're just going to throw these radish. We're just going to wilt these a little bit.
Yeah.
Only so that they fit nicely into the quiche. We're going to let it cool down for a minute so it doesn't start cooking the eggs.
Yeah, so you've got 4 eggs. I mean, so it's a lot of egg. Good amount of egg.
And then we have, we're going to whisk this up just to break up the yolks. And then you can pour in that milk and cream for me.
Great. And how much milk and cream do we have?
It's a cup of milk and a half a cup of cream. And we're also going to put in some goat cheese.
Right, and also about a half cup.
As well. Okay, so here's our beautiful pie crust.
Wonderful.
And we're going to take this and just spread it across the crust here. And we'll add that.
Okay. Just throw it on top.
Yeah. And it's going to sort of spread everything around.
Yeah.
We'll make sure the cheese gets evenly distributed.
So how long are we putting our quiche in the oven
It's going to be 45 minutes roughly, and at 325.
All right, so our quiche is in the oven, and now we're going to go on to our second recipe, which is using a different type of greens. What are we making?
Well, I'm working with beets, and we're going to use the beets, the root, the stems, and the leaves. So total root to leaf recipe.
So where do we begin?
So well, I started with some bulgur wheat, which a really simple way to cook it. You just pour hot water over it and cover it and let it sit, and then it swells up and becomes the texture you want. It's a nice, nutty texture.
Great. So where do we begin?
So we also roasted these beets ahead of time, and I'm going to show you how to peel them. I've got 4 beets total. The skin just comes right off.
All right, so we've peeled our beets. What do we do next?
Okay, so we're going to take the cooked bulgur and just put it into a mixing bowl here. And then we're going to saute some shallots and beet stems that have been diced together.
Right.
So we're figuring out a way to use these and incorporate them.
And what's the flavor of the beet stem for people who would normally say oh, I'm afraid of this thing. I've never eaten it before.
It tastes just like the beets. It's just a little different texture. It's got a little olive oil here.
Perfect.
And we're going to just add these shallots, season with a bit of salt. We're going to add the beet stems. This is just from 4 beets.
And again, the amounts here, it's kind of like, I have 4 beets, I have this. I mean, you're not baking anything, so it's really kind of to your taste and to the number of beets you bought.
Exactly. So we're just making a nice little saute of these 2 things. And so once that has kind of evaporated and the flavor's a lot more concentrated, then we'll wilt those greens and turn it off. And then we're going to slice the beets up.
Okay, great.
For this size beet, that's the perfect bite right there. All right, and then we're gonna add these to the bowl. Then we're gonna squeeze some lemon over. We can add these in as well.
Okay, and a whole lemon or half?
We're gonna just do the juice of a lemon.
Perfect.
I'm gonna season it a little bit just to counterbalance that
Always
acid.
add more salt. And just the color in this is really amazing. Great.
We're gonna add just a little bit more olive oil. And then our fresh cheese.
Okay.
And then just stir it together and we're gonna portion it out. Yeah.
This is beautiful. I'm so glad we learned how to use all of the beet.
There we go.
So we've used our radish leaves, we've used every part of the beet. Now we're coming to one of my favorite vegetables, fennel.
Yes.
And what are we doing with the fennel?
Okay, so majority of people use this portion of the fennel.
Yeah.
And then there's all of this that
The poor
nobody really
frond.
knows what to do. A lot of people know how to use the fennel bulb. We're not going to talk about that today.
Goodbye, bulb. Okay.
But what we are going to talk about is the fronds and the stems. You can see if you pull these away, that there's a structural stem that kind of holds it all together. So we're going to use some of these.
All right, so we've set aside our fronds and now we just have the stems.
For later use. We're just going to cut these crosswise. So just kind of line them up together. We're going to do the same thing with our leeks and little baby onions here. So I'm just going to trim off the tops. These can go into a stock or in a braise. They don't have to be
We don't have to throw them
discarded.
away.
We're going to trim off the root end here.
And so you're gonna cut up the leeks and the onions same way as the fennel.
Yeah, crosswise. We're going to saute the fennel stems and the spring onions and leeks together. We're gonna cook the fish. That'll be last. And we're gonna make a sauce with the fronds.
Great.
Let's start with the sauce and just get that part out of the way.
Okay. So, just throwing everything into a
Yeah, you
blender.
don't want to get any of the
Stem.
like the sort of lengthy stems in here, but just the nice fronds are good, and some green garlic. We actually have some measured out already.
Oh, great.
So just want to
You
toss
made
that
this
in there.
easy for us. So a little bit of green garlic, a little bit of fronds. Throw it in the blender.
And then the,
What else?
that olive oil there.
Okay. So a good portion of olive oil here. Okay.
And a pinch of salt.
Gotta have a pinch of salt.
There we go.
All right.
And then you're just gonna turn that on. We're essentially just making a flavored olive oil.
Okay, so we've made our sauce. What's the next step?
We're gonna saute the fennel stems and the leeks together
Wonderful.
and a little bit of butter. And in the meantime, we can season our fish.
Okay.
So season it on both sides with salt and pepper. And this is mountain trout.
Right here.
Yep. I always start with the stuff from the onion family first.
Okay. And so are you just trying to let this like sweat a little bit before putting the fennel in?
Exactly. So anytime I do onions or anything from the onion family, I just cook that a little bit first and then add whatever else is next. And so we're just gonna saute this just until it's tender.
Now we're ready
so
for
I'm gonna
our
warm
fish.
this up, this pan. Fish is already seasoned. I've got a little bit of canola oil.
Wonderful.
I'm just gonna put just enough to coat. It's not a fish fry. The way I cook fish, especially something this thin, and it has the skin on it, we're gonna cook it skin side down until the skin is crisp. And when we're ready to assemble everything, we'll just flip it over and turn the pan off. So then we're going to start by putting the vegetable down first on the plate.
Oh, wow.
This is our beautiful saute of fennel stems and leeks.
Okay.
And then you're gonna take your piece of trout and just slide it on there. I like to put a little bit more of the vegetable just on top.
Oh, beautiful.
And then we'll spoon the sauce on there. And then I usually save a few of the fronds just as a garnish to remind where everything came from. And there you have it.
Amazing. We've made our 3 amazing recipes, but of course, we put our quiche in the oven at the beginning, so
first,
it's been
yeah.
45 minutes. Let's take it out and see whether it is as beautiful as I'm hoping it will be.
I would eat all this. What about you?
Well, this looks like the perfect meal, and we used every part of our vegetables. We achieved what we set out to achieve. Thank you so much, Stephen,
Thank
for showing
you.
us these recipes from your new
Absolutely.
book, Root Leaf. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.